I pretty much made a promise to myself when I was sick in the hospital, suffering with so much pain that I didn't think I wanted to live anymore. I had made a promise to that individual that I was going to get that done, that I was gonna do that and make that my mission to speak about this, no matter how long it took. Guys, what's going on? I want to give a shout out to Savannah Kramer and the seniors at Stuart High School out of Nebraska for wanting me to make this video based on the book Atomic Habits, as well as just getting you guys prepared for the future, for college. And when speaking about habits, first and foremost, I don't want you guys just to make habits for the sake of making habits, right? Because if they're not in line with your purpose, if they're not in line with your passion, and if they're not in line with making you better as a person, you know, you can build as many habits as you think you want, but eventually if you don't have discipline, they're just going to crumble, right? And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build habits that, like I said, are in line with your purpose, are in line with your passion, in line with making you a better person. Now, before I get into everything with habits and my habits and what I do and all that stuff, I just want to ask you guys like basically this question, right? And that's, have you guys ever wanted something so bad that you'd be willing to give anything to achieve it? And I have, and it took me forever to figure out how to achieve it. It took me 20 years to realize that if you want something bad enough in this life, you got to be obsessed with it, right? You got to be willing to do whatever it takes. So I'm going to tell you guys about my 4 keys to success, right? And I want you to listen to everything I have to say and about these 4 keys and how to implement them very carefully, because if done correctly, it will guide you to success. So you know, you just need to listen. But the first key is passion, right? Now you got to be passionate about something. You got to be passionate about, you know, what's your passion? What's that thing that you have that burning desire for? That thing that is just always on your mind. It never leaves your mind. I'm not talking about Fortnite, right? I'm talking about something that's actually going to get you somewhere in life. You know, and my passion was wrestling. And some would say, oh, wrestling isn't going to get you that far. Well, guess what? It got me, got me to where I am today. So got me through college and all that stuff. So it was a great passion of mine. But anyways, that was my passion, and it was a burning desire that I had. I had high goals towards this thing, and took me a long ways in this life. So whatever your passion may be, it could be anything. It could be your career. It could be future career. It could be your sport. It could be maybe a hobby that you could turn into a business someday, right? You got to find that passion, that burning desire. And once you do, then the next thing is goals. And you want to set your goals so high towards this passion that they're almost unachievable in this lifetime, right? And the reason I say that is because it doesn't matter if it takes 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years to achieve this goal, because what it's going to do in the meantime is going to give you something called purpose. And with purpose brings happiness and fulfillment to our lives, right? So that's why a lot of people, when they get retired, they're very happy for a stint of time, but then all of a sudden they're wanting to look for more work. They're wanting to stay busy because that's all they knew for the longest time was work. And it's like, if you're going to be working for your entire life, why not choose your passion, that thing you have a burning desire for your career, and then just focus on that. And then maybe you won't even be thinking about retirement because you'll be so invested in this thing that you'll never want to stop doing it, right? Now, going back to goals, not only do you want to set your goals so high that they're like almost unachievable in this lifetime, but you also want to set your little goals too. You want to set your little goals too, because that way that's going to give you something to build off of. That's going to give you something to build steam off of so you can get to the next goal and the next goal and the next goal until you reach that big main goal. But until then, you got to set your goals high. So it's like now that you've found your passion, you've set your goals high, then the next thing is obsession. And you have to become absolutely obsessed with whatever this goal, dream, vision, career, whatever this thing is. You got to be obsessed with it, right? Now, what does obsession look like? Obsession looks like this thing that you want to achieve, that it's on your mind 24/7, 365 until the day that you die, and even then it's still in your mind, right? That's obsession. And if you want to see a prime example of what obsession looks like, you should watch 14 Peaks on Netflix. That'll show you everything you need to know about what it takes to be obsessed, but you have to be obsessed. I mean, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes under any circumstances ever to achieve your goals. That's obsession. So now that you've found your passion, you've set your goals high, you're absolutely obsessed, you're willing to do whatever it takes to achieve your goals, then this last thing, it's literally the only thing that matters, and that's belief. Now you have to believe in yourself with 100% confidence. You can't believe in yourself with 99% confidence, and you can't believe in your work ethic, your skill set, all that stuff. You have to believe in yourself with 100% confidence. And if you don't, then it means you're not working hard enough. You're not working smart enough. Now you have to work so hard that it ultimately eliminates any amount of doubt that you have in your mind. And when you can do that, this goal, this dream, this vision, this career, this thing that you want so bad, this business, if you can see it in your mind, I'm telling you right now, you can hold it in your hand. You just got to reach out and take it, but you have to believe with 100% confidence. Now, the thing about these 4 keys of success and what they can do for you is, yeah, they can bring you closer to your goals. They can bring you happiness, fulfillment. They can bring you all these positive things. But something else they can do is they can help eliminate 2 major problems that are really going on with a lot of people in this world today. And that's anxiety and depression. Now, speaking of anxiety and depression, this is something, I deal with on occasion. And how I deal with that, how I combat that, is by having good health, good nutrition. I limit my sugar intake as much as absolute possible. Added sugars, I try to get out of my life. I get rid of processed foods out of my life. I eat as much healthy food, healthy organic food as I possibly can. Fish, meat, fruits, vegetables, you name it. I don't eat anything until 12 o'clock noon. I fast in the mornings. I just drink water and coffee, and that way it's really good for your organs. It's really good for your liver health. My liver went through a lot of stuff when I was sick with bacterial meningitis, and so I just take extra precaution with that and do everything I can to just live the healthiest lifestyle that I possibly can. And by fasting in the morning, that's one of the ways that I do it. And it helps with many things. It helps with your mental state. It helps with in men, it helps boosting testosterone actually. So it does a lot of positive things. And then I also work out. And when I work out, I work out 5, 6, 7 days out of the week. And when I do work out, I give it everything that I got, whether that's lifting weights, whether that's going on a run, or once in a great blue moon, go on a swim, or just get outside, go hunting, go fishing, do things that I love, get outside with my kids, it's just stay active. And then I get the negative people out of my life. I surround myself with positive people. And I do things that are going to get me closer to my goals, like positive habits. I get the negative habits out of my life. I do the hard things I know I need to do without even thinking about getting them done. I just do it. And when I do these things on a daily basis, not just every other day, not just during the work week and I take the weekends off, or skip the holidays. No, when I do this on an every single day basis, not only does that bring me closer to my goals, not only does that bring me happiness and fulfillment, but it also helps eliminate or alleviate that anxiety and depression in my life. So whether you need to hear that or whether a friend, family member, or whoever needs to hear it, spread the message, let them know that you know what to do to live a positive, more healthy lifestyle. But it starts today. Now, getting back to atomic habits and just the power of habit and all that stuff is I've listened to the book on audiobook before. It was a while back, but I was all into trying to build good habits and trying to build habits literally just for the sake of building habits. And all that did for me was, I was building habits, every 10, 20 days I was trying to add more. And really all this was doing was just building habits for the sake of building habits. It's like half of those, if not more, weren't even in line with my purpose, my passion, all that stuff. And so what happened was, as soon as you become undisciplined with these habits, they all crumble like dominoes. And then what you're left with after the fat has been trimmed is just the habits that are in line with your purpose, with your passion, what matter to you, right? And so instead of building habits just for the sake of building habits, build habits that are actually in line with your lifestyle, in line with making you a better person, a healthier person, in line with your purpose, your passion. And when you do this, these habits are going to be more powerful and they're going to stick with you longer throughout your life. They'll become part of your life, actually. So create more powerful habits, I would say. Now, building habits is only half the battle. Getting rid of habits is the other half, right? And it might be easier said than done. But how I look at getting rid of bad habits in my life is like, you just got to ask yourself, like, okay, is this hurting me? Is this hurting my goals? Is this hurting my direction in life? Is it hurting me as an individual? And if the answer is yes, then it doesn't take much for me to get rid of that habit, right? Now, as far as for me to be successful in college, in both school and my sport, wrestling, I would say that the biggest thing that I took out of my life was video games, right? I played video games in junior high, high school, whatever. I wasn't all that crazy about it, but as soon as I got to college, I'm not even kidding, I did not touch one video game the entire time. And this saved me a lot of time for me to work on myself, to work on my homework, to get extra training in with wrestling. And I didn't spend a lot of time on TV either. I would say the most time that I spent was on YouTube, more so just watching wrestling and learning different workouts on what I could do that day, and then go into the gym and emulate what it was that I was watching. I would try to watch I've always had a love for watching the UFC, right? So at that point in time when I was in college, I'd watch the meanest, toughest UFC fighters that there was, and all these guys had build up training videos to all their fights, and a lot of these training videos were these guys just crushing it in the gym or doing all these unconventional workouts. And so I would sit there and I'd write all this stuff down or just have it burnt in my memory, and I would go into the gym and I'd emulate all this stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, okay, if these guys are the best guys in the world, and I'm emulating what they're doing, but even maybe trying to do even more, what's that going to do for me? It's going to make me a way better athlete, way better wrestler, just stronger in all areas. It's only going to benefit me, right? So my biggest source of watching any sort of content or anything, whether that had to do with video games, TV, whatever, scratch that out of my life, and I spent a lot of time on YouTube watching training videos, watching wrestling. Now, when I was at Midland University getting my master's degree, before I even started, the first thing I did is I just completely got rid of my TV. I didn't have cable. I didn't have anything like that. I wasn't playing video games. And I had my computer, right? Because you have to have your computer to type papers and all that stuff. But I told myself, I'm like, I am going to do absolutely every single thing that I can to get the absolute best grades possible, and take this seriously and just see how good I can do. And because of that, there was actually one semester where you only take two classes a semester to be full time, and both of those classes I got 100%. Boom, best grades I ever got in my life. And it was because I applied my full 100% energy into school, and because of that I got great results. Now, as far as small habits that hold a lot of weight, hold a lot of power, that I've implemented in my life recently, and that would be just little things, right? Like when I drive to work every morning, I don't have the radio playing or anything like that, and what I do is I pray all the way on my way to work, and that sets the tone for the day, right? And then on my way back from work, I practice one of my speeches, and I will practice one of my speeches for when I do motivational speaking on my way back from work. And I do these two things every single day on my way to and from work, and I've done that for the last 2 years now. So those are two small but very powerful habits that I've implemented into my life because they're aligned with my goals. They're aligned with my passion, my purpose. And as far as other stuff that I've done, I've fasted until 12 o'clock noon, and I've done that every day for probably the last, 6 months. And this helps have a clear mind. It helps with your overall general health. It helps with your organs. It helps with, your liver. Helps with your mind, helps with your overall body, helps with everything, really. So what advice do I have for high school athletes? I would say, first and foremost, listen to your coaches, be coachable. And whatever your sport is that you're doing, hopefully you're not just doing it to do it, and that you are actually passionate about it. Because if you are, and you want to be the best that you can possibly be, then you got to get extra work outside of practice, and not just getting extra work just to get it, but actually like trying to be the hardest worker you could possibly be. And if you don't know how to do that, you have access to the internet. Watch individuals who are the best in your sport and watch their workout videos and try to emulate what it is that they do, and in all aspects of life, and just go at it with 100%. All right, so I wanted to actually come back and redo this question, and it was because I left out a few important key details, and it's very important. And what this was how do I stay positive and motivated during challenging times? Like, how do I get through it? And this is a mindset that I guess had when I was going through college wrestling. Especially it started at Iowa Central because the practices were crazy hard. And what it was like, basically when we're going through hard times and super hard practices, it's like, you know what, once I realized that, hey, this is, for one, it's only making me better. Like, no matter how hard it is, it's only making me better. If we had punishment practices every single Monday because someone on the team was messing off, it was only making us tougher as a team, right? That's how I saw it. And and on top of that, it's like, whenever you're going through any hard times in life, it's just going to be a good story at the end of the day, mostly depending on what it is. Like, tragedies like death, that nothing good comes out of that. But if you're, if your car breaks down out in the middle of nowhere, it's like, okay, how am I going to get through this, right? And if you look at things as if it's going to be a good story at the end of the day, that's already like a positive mindset. But not only that, you have to treat the situation like it's a game, right? Like, okay, this terrible situation that I'm in, this is a game right now. How do I get out of it? How do I rise above this situation and put myself in the best position possible. And when you think like this, I'm telling you, you can literally get through anything in life. So how did bacterial meningitis affect my daily life? I would say today I'm squared away. I'm pretty good, right? I got through it as good as anybody probably ever could. It was a medical miracle that I did. And I would say once I got past the part of like, all right, I'm not going to die. I'm going to make it. I'm going to live through this. I was still faced with something very terrible, and that was just suffering. I was in so much pain that it was hard to describe how bad it actually was unless someone had gone through it themselves, and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone because it was hell on earth is what it was. And I just remember laying in the hospital bed. I remember going home and laying on bed rest and being in so much pain that I just could not wait until, 3 months from then, 6 months from then, a year from then, 2 years from then, 5 years from then, until I didn't have to live through that pain anymore. I mean, it was so bad that there was times I would have rather just been dead. And the pain, it was inescapable. I couldn't get rid of it. And the only way I was going to get rid of it was just with time. And my wounds and the healing that my body had to go through was so intense that pain was going to be with me for a long time. And so it affected my life for quite a while. I would say it seriously affected my life for probably a solid 1.5 to 2 years. And even the scars on my arms, you can kind of see them right there. Even on the inside, it's not so bad on my other arm, but those wounds didn't fully close up, to where they weren't open wounds it was at least a year, maybe like 8 months, 8 to 10 months, but the full healing process that took over 2 years for my wounds to heal. And not only that, but I also had severe nerve damage on different parts of my body, including my ulnar nerve on my right arm, which affected the grip on my right hand. And so I had to switch up certain things in wrestling so I could have some sort of a grip. And I also suffered really bad nerve pain and neuropathy in both of my feet. And so that was something that I had to overcome for a few years. And still today, I mean, that was over 10 years ago, and still today I have nerve pain in my feet every other day. So all in all, though, I'm very blessed on how I came out of that situation. And if nerve pain was the only thing that's really affected me still to this day, I'd say I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. So I'm back at it again with the fresh, clean shave. I don't look like a caveman during this little clip, but how did I get going? How did I get started with motivational speaking? What made me want to get into this? Well, what made me want to get into it when I was laying in the hospital back in 2013, and I had just told my doctor, I said that I didn't want to live anymore. And I said, just let me die. And it's because I was going through so much pain and suffering. And then that's when my head coach, Bo Vest, came in. And he stood right to the left of me. And he said, Colton, I don't care what I don't care what these doctors and nurses are telling you about you never being able to function normally or even step foot on the wrestling mat ever again, because that's not true. Because they don't know you like I know you. Because if they truly knew you, they would know you haven't given up on anything in your entire life, and you're not about to give up today. That you're going to get out of this hospital and you're going to make one last run and become a national champ, because Colton, that is your job and you're going to get the job done. And as soon as he left, I remember I looked over at my mom and I'm like, this dude's crazy, right? And it actually made me mad. And the reason I was mad is because it was like I wanted to give up. And then I had a coach that still believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And I realized how much work this was going to be. And I knew he was right. And so then right then and there, it was like I had this mind switch. And it was like, dude, if I can get out of this hospital and I can retrain my body how to wrestle, because I already knew how to wrestle. But if I could retrain my body how to wrestle, if I can retrain my body to build myself literally back up from nothing. I had a, once I got out of the hospital, in 3 weeks. They said it was a medical miracle. They said if I got out, it'd be a minimum of probably 2 to 3 months. I get out in 3 weeks, and I went back home. I was on bed rest. But, I started from scratch. I had to go to physical therapy, and I had to sit there at a table and pick up nickels, quarters, pennies, dimes with my different fingers and place them in different cups. And I did this for months. And then I had to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn how to do everything from scratch. When I was in the hospital, I lost 65 pounds of muscle in 2 weeks, right? And so once I got out of the hospital, it was like I made it my mission to come back and achieve this impossible thing. And, I ended up getting third in the country, becoming a 2-time All-American. Did I fall short of becoming a national champ? Yeah, a little bit, but you know what? I was happy knowing that I gave it my absolute everything that I had to get to where I was, to get that third place, right? And so, as soon as I got done with wrestling, I had told myself, I said, I don't care what it is I got to do. I need to make sure that I tell my story. I need to make sure that I tell my story because I pretty much made a promise to myself when I was sick in the hospital, suffering with so much pain that I didn't think I wanted to live anymore. I had made a promise to that individual that I was going to get that done, that I was gonna do that and make that my mission to speak about this, no matter how long it took, right? And it's still a work in progress, right? I'm nowhere where I want to be as far as that goes. Eventually, I would absolutely love to make that my career, and it's something that I'll work on for the rest of my life. If someone wants me to speak, hey, I'm here. So, anyways, there was that. That was my mission. But as far as actually getting going with the speaking, how I got involved with that was one of the wrestling coaches that I worked with and his wife, they both told me one time that, hey, if you want to get into speaking, you should go check out this club. It's called Toastmasters. And it's called Toastmasters International. And what they do is they have these speaking clubs in pretty much every major town, every major city in the entire world. And you can go to these clubs and you show up and you can pretty much give a 4 to 8 minute speech every time that you show up. And they usually have club meetings once every 2 weeks. And so then what I did is I made it my mission to seek out this new adventure, to seek out this new thing that I'm not really familiar with and just fully dive into it. As scary as it was, and not let fear get in the way of that. And I showed up week after week after week and kept working on it, and eventually started doing bigger speeches, and it just kind of grew from there. And like I said, I'm still working on it. It's still a work in progress, and I'm always striving to do better and better and better as far as motivational speaking goes. What advice would I give my younger self? I would say that advice would be more geared towards wrestling. So that's not it's not going to help a lot of people, but I would say if it didn't have anything to do with wrestling, I went to college to wrestle, I'll be honest. But if it didn't have anything to do with wrestling and I was just speaking amongst younger individuals, it would be to follow your passion, follow what it is that you want to do. If you are going to go to college, and this is very important, if you are going to go to college is expensive. It's a huge investment. And if you are going to make that investment, find the degree that that you're in line with, and do something that is going to benefit you in the future. Do something that's going to make you a good career, right? Something that's in demand. I know I talk a lot about, follow your passion. Yes, this is true, but find something that's going to benefit you in the future, and don't go into basket weaving. All right. Now, also, the military is a great option as well. The military, as well as going into a trade. I know a lot of schools don't push these two things, but you can get a lot out of the military. A lot of these different paths that you can go down. I have a lot of friends that were in the military, and it's it's things that you can build a career off of, right? And there's a lot of very positive benefits that go along with being in the military as well. So that's a good option, as well as going into trades. There's a lot of trades that you can do where, fresh out of the gate, you can make really good money and make a phenomenal career for yourself. So don't count those two things out. And like I said, if you're going to go to college, like me, I went to college specifically, I wanted to wrestle. I wanted to make something of myself in the wrestling world. And so I did that. And while I was going through college, I'm like, man, what am I going to do for a job? Well, coaching wrestling in college popped in my head, and I'm like, well, if I want to do that, I better get dang good. And so I trained my butt off to be as good as I possibly can. I ended up becoming a 2-time All-American, getting third twice, and I'm like, all right, well, I think that's good enough. So I went down the coaching path for my career for about 7 years, until life happened. I started a family, and then I had to move on from that. But yeah, if you're going to go to college, do something that's going to set you up in the future. Now, lastly, whatever it is that you guys try to do, right? It doesn't matter if it's a sport. It doesn't matter if it's your career. Whatever this thing is, you need to get rid of all distractions, right? You need to get rid of all the distractions in your life. Anything that's not going to benefit you, get rid of that and solely focus on that one thing. And if you solely focus on that one high goal and you stay disciplined and you work towards it every single day, and it's just always on your mind, you're obsessed with it. And then you're obsessed with it so much that you're putting in so much work to try to achieve this, that eventually it gets to the point where you just solely 100% believe in your mind that you are going to achieve this goal. You're going to become this, you're going to become that, you're going to become a doctor, whatever. If you can firmly believe that in your mind, I'm telling you right now, like I said before, you can hold it in your hand. It's yours. All right? So whatever it is you're doing in life, give it absolutely every single thing that you got. And if you do that, the world's yours.